Marketing has traveled through three eras: campaign thinking, journey thinking, and learning loop thinking. Each era didn't replace the last. It raised the stakes. Today we walk that arc together. By the end, you'll see why the old pitch lost its power, why trust became the currency of modern marketing, and why today's platforms behave more like learning systems than loudspeakers. We begin in the era when making the case was enough. Marketing's job was straightforward: identify the winning features, build the airtight argument, and repeat it until people nodded along. It worked because the world around it cooperated. With only a few TV networks, a handful of magazines, and limited radio formats, reach was guaranteed. Marketers spoke. Audiences listened. The asymmetry wasn't a flaw, it was the strategy. But the environment changed faster than the playbook. Four forces quietly dismantled the logic that held the pitch together. First came infobesity.
Estimated 6,000 to 10,000 ads fight for our attention every single day. You have seconds, not minutes, to stand out. And the noise doesn't stop there. In the time it takes to read this, 30,000 hours of video are uploaded. While you slept, 376 billion emails hit inboxes worldwide. Every second, 87 new blog posts go live. The bottom line, you've got just 1.3 seconds before Gen Z scrolls past or tunes out. We'll call this infobesity, but it doesn't stop there. In addition to infobesity, ad skepticism, where fake news makes everyone doubt, competitive parity, when every brand sounds the same, and consumer control, where audiences decide what they'll watch, skip, or block. In other words, they put up do not disturb signs. So that's our battlefield.
These forces didn't just weaken campaign thinking, they ended its era. And when persuasion hit its ceiling, the answer wasn't louder claims. It was resonance content that feels true before it argues anything. Proving relies on features and superiority. Resonating relies on relatability, empathy, emotional movement, and shared values. It works because people don't evaluate first and feel later. They feel first and justify later. Dove's Real Beauty sketches showed this shift perfectly. It didn't list benefits or claim superiority. It revealed something emotionally true, and people shared it because it moved them. Resonance did the work. Belief comes before conversion. Brands that earn trust before they pitch outperform those that rush the ask. So the question becomes, if persuasion has a ceiling, what actually earns attention? The answer is relationship.
Back in 2010, about the time we launched our first courses on this topic, many of us saw social media as just another megaphone. Shout louder, reach further. But after conducting in-depth research with about 171 social media experts, we discovered the truth. It's not about blasting messages, it's about building relationships. Today's best marketers don't chase clicks, they earn trust by being useful, maybe with operational helpfulness, insightful, maybe what's going on in your industry, or simply human. So it's not about pushing people through a funnel, it's about guiding them on a journey with this content. And it takes them from their initial curiosity, maybe you exposed the pain point they weren't familiar with, to connection and ultimately to loyalty.
The old funnel imagined a tidy slide from awareness to conversion. Real life is messier, nonlinear, emotional, full of detours and micro moments where trust is built or lost. People wander, pause, return, compare, forget, rediscover, and consult the voices they trust most. The brand isn't the hero, the customer is. The brand is the companion, the guide who shows up consistently, helpfully, and humanly enough to be invited into the decision. This shift reshaped the entire front end of marketing. Instead of trying to close early, modern brands focus on being believed early. They create content that earns familiarity, warmth, and credibility long before a transaction is on the table.
Well, the first exercise focuses on creating this credible content. This is where you learn to let your users do the talking. You show your cards instead of hiding them. For example, you become an open book on your prices, your competition, and your product issues. And you prove expertise with real evidence. So we start thinking product demos, how-to posts, or customer stories. The goal is to earn the trust the way classic journalism once did, through facts, transparency, and objectivity.
And that brings us to the world we operate in now. A world where the feed has become the store, where AI anticipates intent before people type a search, and where every post, comment, and interaction feeds a learning loop that shapes what audiences see next. Social platforms aren't just channels, they're adaptive systems. They reward relevance, authenticity, and consistency. They punish interruption, exaggeration, and anything that feels like a pitch disguised as content. In this environment, the brands that win aren't the ones with the loudest claims. They're the ones that feel most human, the ones that show up with clarity, empathy, and a point of view, the ones that understand that trust isn't a step in the funnel, it's the foundation beneath the entire journey.
Of the course itself and the deliverables, everything is delivered through interactive flipbooks that have embedded videos, podcasts, and project templates, and they're always updated to the latest trends. Canvas keeps everything organized so you'll never miss a step. So get ready. This course isn't about chasing algorithms. It's about creating relationships that last, communities that matter, and influence that spreads. Let's get started.